Hey guys, Food Hussy here, and we are back in my kitchen, ready to make something delicious for you. Today, we're gonna make one of my favorite things that is from my home state of Iowa. Now, if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can follow along with all my adventures. But today, what are we making? We are making Maid Rites Sliders. It's a loose meat sandwich. Basically, it's a hamburger with a lot of seasoning. We're gonna start off by making Maid Rites, and then we'll turn those into sliders. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first start off by browning our ground beef. Now, if you are looking to make this a little bit healthier, you can also use ground turkey, ground chicken, anything like that, because you've got a lot of different seasonings that are going into it. So it's not gonna hurt to use something a little bit lighter if you want. But I'm sticking with ground beef for this recipe, because in Iowa, we have a lot of cows. With Maid Rites, you've got ground beef as the base, but then we put a lot of seasonings and sauces into here. So what we have is we've got Better Than Bouillon is my favorite. You can use beef bouillon cubes if you want, but I just think the Better Than Bouillon has a lot more flavor in it. And so we're gonna put a little bit of that in. We've also got soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, brown sugar, and apple cider vinegar, and then a little bit of water. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put all those ingredients in, and then it's gonna cook down. And so you're gonna cook it so all the liquid evaporates from it. While your ground beef is browning, you wanna set your oven to preheat at 350 degrees. So when the ground beef is about half done to 2/3 done, that's when you can start adding in your ingredients. And so we've got apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, soy sauce, and Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. This stuff is my favorite. I use Worcestershire sauce on everything. So you just take, this stuff is kind of like sludge, this Better Than Bouillon, but it's delicious. So just take a teaspoon of that, pop it in there, and then we're gonna add our water. And so again, all of this is you're gonna mix it together and then cook it down until there's no liquid left. So this is gonna take about probably 5 minutes or so. You also wanna break up your ground beef so it's in as small of pieces as possible. That's just sort of the Maid Rite way. So while the ground beef is cooking and we're letting that liquid evaporate off, what we're gonna do is get our Kings Hawaiian Rolls ready. You can use any kind of Hawaiian rolls like this, but I like that brand the most. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna slice these in half. And so sometimes I'll actually break it up because it's just a little easier to slice in sixes. So you're gonna slice these rolls using a bread knife with this serrated edge, makes it a lot easier. Okay, so we have our rolls sliced in half. I'm gonna do the other ones. Now we're gonna get our pan ready while our ground beef is still cooking. So you wanna spray it with nonstick spray. The fog and the mist from the steam and the mist from the spray. It's like special effects day. I'm like a rock star, except I'm not. Now we're gonna take our Kings Hawaiian Rolls and we're gonna put the bottom half of the rolls into the pan. Shocker, keep those tops nearby. So there we've got it, bottom's in. That's all we gotta do. So as you'll see, this liquid is almost evaporated. This is just about perfect because you don't want the ground beef to overcook. So when it gets to this point where you see just a little bit of liquid left, that's when you're done with your loose meat and you're ready to put it on the buns. So with your loose meat, you're gonna wanna drain it a little bit and just kind of pull that liquid to one side. So you've got the hamburger that doesn't have any liquid left in it on the other side. And then we're gonna spoon this onto our bottom half of our buns. You wanna spoon this mixture on and try to keep it on the buns as much as possible because we're gonna top it with cheese. And so we wanna make sure we get all that yummy ground beef mixture in our mouths and not on the bottom of the pan. Now we're ready to top the ground beef. So we are going to put pickles on first because I like a lot of pickles. Now, if you're not a pickle fan, I don't know what's wrong with you. Lots of Maid Rites also have mustard is kind of the typical topping, so I might put a little of that on here. You can also put diced onions on your Maid Rites, and if you really want to get wild and crazy, you can put ketchup on them, but that's not my bag. So original Maid Rites, pickles and mustard and onions. I'm gonna skip the onions today, but we're going with the pickles and the mustard, and then the cheese. So you just use plain old yellow mustard. So we're just gonna squirt some of that. I need some more mustard, apparently. All right, we've got a little mustard on here. Next up, we've got pickles on here, we've got mustard, and now let's talk cheese. For the love of cheese, stop using those plastic slices. Okay, the wrapped ones that you buy, don't use those. Use Land O'Lakes American cheese. It will change your life. A grilled cheese sandwich with this stuff is the best. So we're gonna lay our cheese slices. I like a lot of cheese. We're gonna put those on top of the pickles and mustard and ground beef. And I like a lot of cheese. And this is actually what kind of holds these Maid Rites together, these Maid Rite sliders. So I'm gonna put 6 slices on for this dish. Next up, we're going to put the tops of the Hawaiian buns onto our sandwiches. So that was really all there was to that step. You could have figured that one out on your own. But I tried to help, okay? Now you'd think we have our sliders together, we're done. Oh no, we're not done yet. We have a glaze to make to pour on top. And just grab a measuring glass or any sort of glass that you have. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take half a stick of butter, pop it in. Then we're gonna add to this, we've got Dijon mustard. We've got brown sugar, poppy seeds. I hope you don't have to pass a drug test anytime soon. And lastly, Worcestershire sauce. Now, we've got all that stuff in there and we are going to melt this in the microwave. And so it's super easy to do. What I do is I take, my little hack is, because I don't want it to splatter, I take the paper from the butter and I just set it on top and it keeps it from splattering and messing up my microwave. So now that we have our glaze melted out of the microwave, all you do is just take a basting brush and stir it around together. It is so yummy, and trust me on this, but this glass is super hot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to baste the tops of these Hawaiian rolls, heavily baste them with this butter glaze. Gosh, it smells so good. So we got a little bit of the glaze left. But now, we've got our sliders. They are all ready to go in the oven. So we're gonna bake these at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Check them at 20 minutes because you don't want the tops to get too brown. So 20 to 25 minutes, bake these and then we'll pop them out and see how they turned out. Our sliders are sliced and we're ready to go. Had a little pickle casualty, so I have to eat it first. All right, so we're gonna dig in and get our sliders out of the pan. Fall apart burger, see? It's falling apart. So yummy though. So again, these are a copycat kind of the Maid Rite recipes, which I used to get all the time. We had a Maid Rite in my little town of 3,000 people in Iowa. And so this is my take on a Maid Rite, but I turned it into a slider and we've got cheese in here. That's a cheese Rite, if you're wondering. And then we've got pickles, mustard, and then this buttery sweet glaze on top. So since it's right here in my hand, let's dig in. The flavor of the meat is my favorite, and I use Maid Rite meat for so many things. If you check my website, thefoodhussy.com, I have got biscuit bites, I have got one of those braided crescent roll things, and then I've also got just traditional Maid Rites. You can find all the recipes on my website, but I have to say these sliders are my favorite because the Hawaiian rolls get all buttery and you taste that Worcestershire, the mushroom, the mustard, the poppy seeds, the butter. It's all so good, and the pickles and that Land O'Lakes cheese. Mmm.